you're new here, this is Lucid Luxury. We are experiencing our version of the kingdom of heaven, living from the end of creation, remembering who we are, and experiencing financial prosperity. I want y'all to rest, relax, and receive because this lesson is going to be so good. So, I released to my community a free practice faith, really learning how to live from the end of creation, really tap into the medical physics of pleasure. So I released that to my community. It's currently free on my stand store. Click the link in the description. It's only free until tomorrow morning. So make sure you grab your copy. And hey goddesses, love y'all so much. So I am going to be going in very deep detail about what this means. I mean, this is the first time I'm even drawing a picture so y'all can see. So I'm not going to be active in the chat until after I get through my lessons because y'all, I am operating on no sleep. When I say zero sleep, the way God gave this revelation to me and the way it was put together, like having AI put my thoughts together in a package to deliver to you, I know that if you come from living from the end of creation, it's going to change your life. And I promise you that. I feel like every video, I feel like, oh, this one's going to change your life. But every revelation does change your life. So let's get into it. Type I remember in the comments, type faith in the comments. Let's get into this because I really need y'all to understand what it means to practice faith. And I need you to understand living from the end of creation. So I'm going to draw y'all a picture. It's funny, before I draw y'all a picture, because my writing and drawing skills are terrible. So I'm going to give y'all the visual before we get started to keep this in your subconscious mind. Keep in mind a picture of an infinity symbol. I don't want y'all to think of time as linear as we're starting from here to get here. I want you to start picturing time as an infinity symbol. So you can even draw yourself a little infinity symbol. Okay, so because that's going to be key. Now let's dive deep into the lessons and then I'll answer questions after. I might start a membership because the lessons are starting to get so detailed that I want to make sure that y'all get a chance to ask all y'all questions and we can spend a whole lot of time together because I honestly feel like this lesson should be a bunch of videos, but I'm going to put everything in one. So we're going to be rocking today. So I have my notes. Okay. So the whole point is practice faith is we walk by faith, not by sight. And I want y'all to think of the word walk as a practice. Walk is an action movement. Like you're actually moving, you're walking, you're practicing. So I want y'all to keep that in mind as we're going through this lesson of what does it mean to live from the end of creation and practice in faith. You're walking by faith, meaning you're in action, you're in movement. So let's go. And remember, get your free guide right now until tomorrow because it's not going to be free anymore. So I'm going to draw y'all. I'm going to draw y'all a picture because I want y'all to think of the living from the end of creation. I want y'all to think of it as everything exists from this point of creation. So everything exists from your point of creation. And I want y'all to see where the point of creation is because that's going to make sense. So I'm going to do my best to draw this infinity symbol. And this also plays into why everyone is you pushed out. This infinity symbol is terrible. Why everyone is you pushed out, because everyone and everything that you experience is from your points of creation. Meaning that what do you perceive to be in your reality? Linear time says the past happened, I'm right here, and I'm planning on the future. Living from the end of creation, living on an actual infinity sign, which we're going to call soul time. Make sure y'all taking notes because I'm telling y'all this is going to get deep. I'm going to make a note up here to call it soul time. So, y'all, I got to redraw this. It's so terrible. So think of the infinity symbol as your timeline, and it's called soul time. So it's not linear time. We're operating on soul time. I'm telling y'all this is going to get deep. So if you don't want to learn, this is probably not the video for you. So anyway, So we're operating on soul time. Now let me draw my infinity symbol. It's so terrible, y'all, but y'all gonna rock with me. Okay, so we're living on soul time. Soul time. Oh, we're living on soul time. So I want y'all to think of the points of creation, living from the end of creation, you. I'm gonna write you here. So this is the infinity symbol, and this is you. I told you I got terrible drawing. This is you. You are here. So I want you to think of your past, present, and future just doing a loop. You're doing a loop on an infinity symbol. And you are here. This is your point of creation. Got it? Good. So I want you to think of everything that you are creating is from that point of creation. And that whole point of creation that I just showed y'all, this is received. This is, I'll write it down. How do I want to say this? Received or, okay. End of creation. This is the answer. Oh yeah, that's the whole point. A lot of us, when you're operating on linear time, you're operating from the question. So think about it like this. You're thinking, how do I get this? You're not living from the end of creation because you're thinking about the how. When you're living here, when this is you, this is the end of creation. Remember, it's not linear. Soul time is not linear. This is your answer, meaning that you are living from the end of creation, meaning everything that you're doing from this moment is from the end of creation, not when I get this, this is how this person is going to be. No, keep in mind, if you believe you have received it, it shall be yours. So end of creation. If you believe you have already received it, who do you remember yourself to be? This is why I talk a lot about remembering, because it's who do you remember yourself to be from the end of creation? Not who do I need to become to get these things, but who do I remember myself to be since creation is finished? And when we think about soul time, so again, going back to that infinity symbol, if you think about soul time, I want y'all to think this moment that you are experiencing me is a standalone moment. What I mean by that, it does not matter what you were doing before you clicked on this video, and it will not matter what you're doing after. A lot of us think of linear time as because I experienced this one thing, that means that in this moment is the next moment, so I have to experience it again. No, that is linear time. The moment before now is a standalone moment. It does not matter. But this is why I say live at the end of creation, because this is probably going to be one of the key points of the entire video. What do you perceive reality to be? Your perception of reality is what's actually creating reality. So what do you see this reality to be? Think of it that way, because, oh, this is so good, y'all. When you're operating on soul time, knowing that there's an infinity symbol, it's a loop, it's going to continue to loop, it's not linear. What are you perceiving reality now? And y'all know I teach financial prosperity, so we're going to think about this from a millionaire aspect. If you're here, you're a millionaire. But you as the millionaire, what are you perceiving right now? Not what do I need to become to be a millionaire, but me as the millionaire Ty, how am I perceiving my reality right now? Because that is what's going to create this moment, this standalone moment, this end of creation, this here now, this present moment, your point of creation where you are on this loop of infinity. What you are perceiving in your reality is the way you're going to shift your timeline, because I want y'all to really understand that this moment, this very moment here now, is the only moment that ever exists. You're only thinking about the future from this now moment. You're thinking about the past from this now moment. So if you can understand that this now moment is the only reality that you will ever perceive, you will be more monitor of your thoughts. You will be more conscious of those thoughts, because the way you're perceiving this moment is what's creating this moment. The way you're seeing this moment is what you're going to experience. It goes back to that walking by faith and not by sight, why it's called a practice. You have to practice on what you're perceiving in this moment. I'm about to drink this. Hold on, y'all. So I want y'all to think about the metaphors that was coming to me. I'm going to give y'all a couple of them. So the metaphors was coming to me. I was watching the news when I was meditating. The news, I wasn't even watching the news. I accidentally flipped the TV and it went to the news. And my mind was, I don't want to watch the news. I don't watch the news. I could have thought, because I'm watching the news right now, or I watch news in that moment, I can continue to watch news because I watched it in a moment before. That's not how time works. You have the remote control. If you do not want to watch the news anymore, change the channel. I want you to perceive reality the same way. I did not like watching the news that moment 1 second before. So I'm changing the channel in this moment. Where is your awareness? That is going to be key. So if you want to live at the end of creation, it is a step-by-step guide. I break this down in that guide. Now also breaking down step-by-step how you live from the end of creation. So I want you to also think about it like this. We talked about practice faith, right? We're practicing faith. What is practice faith? Think about it like this. The other metaphor that came to me. When a doctor is practicing medicine, they are not preparing to practice medicine. They are simply practicing medicine. They're not like, oh, when I learn medicine, I'm going to practice it. No, I already know medicine and I am actively practicing it as I'm seeing my patients. Think about reality like that. You are practicing who you desire to be now. Everything that you're doing is simply a practice. Everything is simply a practice. But the beauty of it is you get to choose every moment. Again, it's a standalone moment. So every moment you get to choose, who are you practicing? Who do you remember yourself to be? Think of it that way. It's always going to be, the way it was given to me was, I'm going to write it down. Get the guide, because all of this is in the guide. And again, it's free right now until tomorrow. I hope I spell remember right, y'all. Let me check. I write it so much that should be right. Yeah, okay. So it's remember, practice. Yeah, I can think of that formula. So you remember, do I want to write it? I guess I'll just write it, y'all. I really didn't want to write all of this, but I'm going to write it. So you remember that you've already received it. That is a memory. And then you remember who you are as the version who have already received it. Meaning, who are you now? Remember, you are living from the end of creation. Who are you now as the person who is now a millionaire? From this present moment, who do you remember yourself to be? Not who am I going to become to be a millionaire? It does not work that way. Time does not work that way. This is why I say, even I'm going to give you so many examples. But even me creating this video, the Ty that wasn't a millionaire wouldn't have thought of creating this video. This is why I say, who do you remember yourself to be? Because you're going to think different thoughts. I promise you, you're not going to think the same thoughts when you remember who you desire to be. Okay. Oh yeah, I was supposed to show y'all this. Again, y'all, my handwriting not cool. So it's remember. Remember is received. The formula is remember who you are, and practice. Practice faith. So remember you have already received it. You remember who you are as the version of you who has already received it, and you are practicing your faith. Again, it goes back to when you have, I forgot to even get into this. Y'all, I told you this is going to be long. So when I think of desire, say that you have a desire. The desire is the question. And I'm not going to write all of this down. Y'all just going to have to get the guide. I'm not writing it. Y'all going to have to get the guide. So the desire is the question. And you operating on linear time, you tend to try to manifest your desires based on that question. Like, what do I desire to be? And that is doing it backwards. I tell y'all all the time that the 3D is backwards. You have to come from the answer, and the answer is received. The answer is the end of creation. So when you're manifesting, if you truly desire to manifest a specific experience here, now, you have to come from the answer, and the answer is the end of creation, meaning, who do you remember yourself to be here now? And it was so fitting because as a scientist, I tend to work backwards. This is why I say everything is connected, everything is spiritual. Because in my real life, I just work backwards anyway. So when I realized that if you apply that same principle just to manifestation, you're going to change your life, because you're telling yourself, this is who I am, not even who I desire to be. This is who I am. And y'all remember, I told y'all the only reality that exists is your internal state, your internal world. So if you're existing from your internal state, the 3D is mirroring that. This is why I say time is on a loop. This is why soul time, the real time soul time, is a infinity symbol on a loop, because you're coming from a different point. You're not starting on linear time where this is the past, this is who I desire to be now, and that person is in the future. No, you're operating it backwards. This is who I am now, and this is how I'm moving now, and everything else in my 3D is going to rearrange to mirror that version of me. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. And again, get the guide, because the guide, y'all, I can only explain this so well in a video versus you digesting the information yourself. So I want y'all to think about what else. Oh, yeah, this is something I also talked about. This one right here is good. So I want you to think about, when you're practicing faith, you have two options. This will help you clear it all up whenever you coming up to doubt. You have two options. Are you practicing your history or your possibility? Those are your only two options. And if you are practicing your history, you're operating on linear time. You're telling the 3D, this is my internal state. I'm who I was in the past, and that's all I'll ever be. I know nothing else, and this is how I'm operating. No, remember, not that verse. So remember, God does the impossible. Y'all know with man it's impossible, but with God it's possible. So if you're operating from practicing faith, if you're coming from possibility, that means you're allowing your God self to deliver the possible ways for you to experience your desired reality. That is the whole point. If you're coming from possibility, you're saying, okay, God, I trust you. I've surrendered it to you. And I know that you have an infinite possible ways for this to manifest for me. And I'm operating on soul time. I'm operating here, the point of receiving, the end of creation. And I'm allowing whatever needs to happen, whatever God needs to do to bring the possible here now. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay, let me see what else. I want to make sure. I don't know if I want to touch on that, but I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to touch on it a little bit, since I talked a little bit about it on the video yesterday. Okay, I want y'all to think about soulmates. Say you're manifesting a soulmate. Let's just talk about it. Say you're manifesting a soulmate, and this is going to pull it all together. Remember, the only thing you're experiencing from this point of existence is you. Meaning the only thing you know that is real is you. This is your point of existence. So if you're manifesting a soulmate, this is going to go to the everyone is you pushed out video. I'm probably going to tag it here because that is important. If you're manifesting a soulmate, you will only ever experience your true soulmate operating from the end of creation, meaning that if you desire a soulmate, you're coming from end of creation, meaning that I've already manifested my soulmate. So whoever you meet as your soulmate has to meet you there. But if you're manifesting a soulmate, but entertaining what you do not want to experience, the people that you're encountering that's not aligning with you is because you're entertaining what you don't want to experience. You're still telling the 3D, like, Yeah, I want a soulmate, but I don't really believe that's possible. So I'm entertaining what I really don't want. You need to stop doing that. Y'all, this is not real, so it's going to keep falling. You need to stop doing that. You are here. You are the only point of existence. Everyone is you pushed out. I'm living at the end of creation, which means I'm already in a relationship with my soulmate. Has already happened. This is the timeline. This is the reality. This is what I'm perceiving reality to be. Therefore, my soulmate now has the space, now has the container to enter my reality. But if I'm like, oh, I want a soulmate, but I'm still operating, oh, there's no good men out there. This person is this person is that. That is what I'm going to continue to manifest. That is what I'm going to continue to perceive in my reality. That's why I say, where is your point of perception? Because that is how you're experiencing reality. Y'all, it sounds complicated, but this shit is actually elementary. Do not entertain what you do not want to experience. Live from the end of creation, meaning I'm not entertaining what I do not want to experience. I remember creation is finished. I believed I have received it. I believe that everything is possible with God. I am practicing my faith. And from this level of awareness, everything must meet me here. That is how I want y'all to start operating in this reality. Okay, let me make sure I didn't have any. Oh no, girl, it's not a nose ring. I was just trying it out to see if I wanted a nose ring. I really think that's all I really want to go over, because everything else is in the guide and it breaks it down even better. So, but let me see if y'all have any questions, because I'm about to go color by the pool. Hi, goddesses. The line, open your eyes to things unseen, has been stuck in my head. Yes, and it's going to be, where is your point of perception? That is how you're going to open your eyes to things unseen. Where is your point of perception? And are you truly walking by faith and not by sight? And remember, walking by faith is a practice. That is an action word. I feel like a lot of people tend to think walking by faith is inactive, but the whole work is an act. The whole word walk is an action verb. It's literally an action. So you need to practice it. Practice your faith like you're a doctor practicing medicine, meaning you're already a doctor. You're simply practicing medicine on clients or on patients, or however you want to look at it. Practice your faith. That is where your power lies. That is where your ability to shift timelines and experience different realities is going to lie, is in your practice of faith. And I also want to know, if you've been here, if you're new here, whatever, if you have had the faith of a mustard seed and that has already taken you through what you have seemed impossible before, your faith needs to be mountain-sized faith at this point. It needs to be that radical faith, because you are well practiced in your experience at this point. You are well practiced in shifting your realities. So have that mountain-sized faith. It is a practice. And as you continue to practice, you continue to get stronger. All I do is meditation of the infinite. Oh, good. Let's see. It's a beautiful book, and the table of contents are fire. I can't wait to read. Thank you. Y'all, when I say the way God had gave me that, I was writing for hours. When I say I was writing for hours yesterday, and then I woke up at 3 a.m. and I could not stop thinking about it. So I was like, let me gather my thoughts and put it into a container. Like, I have to share this, because I really want everyone to wake up to their power, and I want you to wake others up to their power. This 3D is an experience. I never even touched on that part. I forgot, y'all. The 3D is an experience. The whole desire, the whole pleasure, the whole point of the metaphysics of pleasure is that the 3D is an experience of pleasure. But I want y'all to know there are varying degrees of pleasure. My idea of pleasure is not the same as your idea of pleasure. So if you come from the 3D and view the 3D like I'm simply here for pleasure, everything else will align with that. That means everything you're doing is simply for pleasure in the 3D. The 3D is not where you become whole and complete. You are already whole and complete when you have entered this reality. The 3D is where you get to experience your whole and completeness. That is why it's pleasure, because you're experiencing the wholeness and completeness of God. Forgot to mention that, y'all. Pretty important. Let me see. Hey, Tab. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The 3D is pleasure chapter. Can you go over it real quick? Oh, okay. Yeah, I just did. My bad. See? I forgot about that. The whole point. So if y'all look at it, I'll give y'all the breakdown of it. Desire. Desire being the question. What do I want to experience? Y'all got that part, right? And then received. And that is the answer. That is where you're living from. This is the point of creation where I already received it. And then the pleasure is the 3D experience. I get to experience what I've already received internally in the 3D. That is where the pleasure comes in, because I've already received it. I'm not doing anything in the 3D. The 3D is simply for me to get the pleasure, the enjoyment of experience what I've already received in the physical. As God, you're living internally, but you're also human, having a human experience, so that external experience you're having is a reflection of your internal. And if internally you are living in pleasure, then your 3D experience is going to match that pleasure. But if internally you are living in scarcity and doubt, the 3D is going to match that. This is why you have to become aware of them thoughts like a MFer. Like, for real, y'all. You're going to have to be consciously aware of who you're being and what state you're coming from. Because I want y'all to understand, it does not matter if you're saying you're manifesting money or wealth if you're coming from a state of lack. Because you cannot trick yourself. You cannot trick your God self. Your God self knows which state you're actually coming from. And the state you're coming from is more important than anything else, because the 3D is going to mirror your state. This is why it's important to do all the work internally. There is nothing for you to do in the 3D but simply experience your pleasure. Simply experience your internal identity. This is why it's mirror work. This is why everything is internal, because the 3D is a reflection of that. Let me see. Okay, my mom and I are currently homeless. A person yesterday that is trying to help us said we would have to split up to receive in houses. Should I ignore him if that's not what we want? Yes. First of all, I've been there, been homeless with my daughter before. I know the feeling, but you know that's not the experience you want. So I would not entertain that thought at all. I would instantly go to me and my mom has always been together. There is no splitting up. We're always together. Everything works out from that point. And me personally, I would not entertain anything that's talking about splitting us up. And again, I've done this from scarcity, so it is possible. No. No one would split up a mother and child or a mother and daughter. That just wouldn't happen. So don't entertain it. Don't give it your thought. I wouldn't even entertain that person. Keep going until you get the answer that you want. Okay, did y'all have any more questions? I'm going to go over my notes again. I'm actually going to pull up the guide to make sure there's nothing that I wanted to touch on. Let me make sure before I go. And this is why I said this is probably going to needs to be memberships, because we go so in depth, y'all. And I want to make sure y'all getting this game. I want to make sure you're living in your highest timeline. I want to make sure you're experiencing pleasure here. We're chilling right now, experiencing pleasure. We're just chilling. You watching me is because your internal state called me here. This is something that you wanted to experience. This is knowledge that you wanted to remember. And now you're having it. How lucky are you? Think about that. How lucky are you that you commanded your reality to give you the knowledge that you already know to help you remember, for you to experience pleasure in the 3D right now? How lucky are you? How blessed are you? Think about it like that. Okay. Let me make sure. No problem, Goddess. Remember your power. Goddess, don't entertain what you don't want to experience, because you're giving your power away. And we do not do that. We do not give our power away. Your power is your faith. Walk by faith, not by sight. Meaning, if you specifically are practicing faith, then you have faith that it worked out exactly how you wanted it to work out, and you're not entertaining anything else. Practice your faith. Oh, y'all, that's what I wanted to tell y'all. When you are living at, y'all, this shit is about to be so trippy. I forgot all about this. I want to tell y'all something very trippy that happened to me today after I created this. So a couple months ago, I had put in my calendar today that, let me see what I can't even look. Hold on. Let me make sure, because I need y'all to know what I put in my calendar, because it was that dang on trippy. Okay. So, is it So on my calendar today, a couple months ago, I put significant date, OMG, can't believe it happened. Another life-changing portal day. I don't know what that meant when I put it there. I told y'all in videos before, I tend to get specific dates without knowing what it's going to mean. I just write what God tells me to write down without having any context behind it. So the fact that I have put that in my calendar for today, and then I got the download about this practice faith, about this metaphysics of pleasure, about truly living from the end of creation, and then I was guided to release the guide. That is your future self. That is living from the end of creation. That is you knowing what you desire to experience playing out in real time. And you have the power to be this damn tapped in to your own knowingness. I had no idea I was going to be creating this or releasing it or anything like that. But I wrote it down anyway and just lived. Literally just had an experience in a 3D. And this is what was revealed to me. This is what unfolded. This is why I always say you are in the middle of the unfolded. There is no way for you to know how great things can get for you. God, that's probably the only way. Know that God wants things to be great for you. But God's, allow it. And by allowing it is believe you have already received it and live from that point. Live from that point. It is done. Time is not linear. Time is an infinity. You are in the middle. You are the point of creation. Everything else in the 3D that you experience is simply from you. Keep that in mind all the time, and you will be more consciously aware of your thoughts. Excuse me. Yes. Thank you, Princess. We're definitely holding the highest intentions. It has already worked out. I'm not even worried about it, Sharon, because it's already worked out. Literally already worked out. Keep your attention, keep your faith in it has already worked out. If you're keeping your faith in it has already worked out, it means you're keeping your faith in I have already received it. I want y'all to write that down, received, put it in the comments, put it in bold letters. If you're taking notes, underline it. You have already received with the D on the end. It has already happened. The creation is already finished. You are simply experiencing it here in the 3D. Keep that in mind. The 3D is an experience for pleasure. That is it. Okay. Let me see what else I wrote down, y'all. Yes, you have already received it. It is already done. You and your mom are already in a beautiful home together. You see, Sharon, I can't even stand up because I got on swim clothes, y'all. But Sharon, you see my background. I don't know if you've been here, but for those who've been here, I was homeless with a young child at that. But I kept my faith in what God can do. The fact that this is a physical manifestation of a thought that I was having years ago. Floor to ceiling windows, a high rise. This is a physical manifestation of that when I was homeless. So keep practicing your faith, Goddess. Don't give the 3D your power. Keep your power internally, and that is your faith. Your faith is your power. You are the main character. You have superpowers now. You've always had superpowers. You remember your superpowers, and your superpowers is practicing your faith, goddesses. Always. Always. Okay, let me make sure. Whew. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to talk about this. Y'all can read that part in the guide. It's really about being how everything's. I'm going to talk about it for 1 second, y'all. But think about the infinity symbol. Y'all remember I talked about the infinity symbol. And I want y'all to think that, okay, so y'all got the infinity symbol in your head. And linear time is a straight line. But again, we're not operating on linear time. We're operating on soul time, which is an infinity symbol. It's always connected, and it's connected in the middle to the point of creation. I want y'all to know that that whole point is you are the Alpha and the Omega. You are the beginning and the end. You are the question and the answer. It is all connected. If you realize that, like, there is no end, there is no linear time, there is no past, there is no future. I'm simply an infinity symbol. The Alpha, the Omega, the question, the answer. The question is the desire, and the answer is already received it. The moment you had the desire, the moment you had the desire, the moment you had the question is the moment you had already received the answer, and the answer being received. But are you bold enough to live knowing that? That is what it's going to come down to. How bold are you in your power? How bold are you in your perception of reality? How bold are you to realize that the 3D is simply a mirror to who I am being? And if I am being internally the highest version of me, the 3D is going to match that. I'm just going to take this out because it's bothering me. Okay, let's see. We already talked about being whole and complete. We already talked about it. Desire being the question, receive being the answer, and pleasure being the 3D experience. That's all what it boils down to. I want y'all to rewatch this video. Get the guide. It's free until tomorrow. This is why I want y'all to get the information. The fact that I even made it free is because I want y'all to just get the information. I want you to experience pleasure. I want you to experience joy. I really want that for you. If you are on this live, if you are watching the playback, write pleasure. I want you to experience pleasure. The 3D is simply for pleasure. The 3D is an intimate expression of your internal state. That's literally how I start looking at the 3D. It's just an intimate expression of who I am being. Who do I know myself to be here and now? It doesn't matter who I was a second ago. Who am I now? How am I moving now? Think of your 3D reality as such. It does not matter who you were a second ago. What are you perceiving now? That is how you're going to shift your reality. So, anywho, goddesses, if y'all don't have any more questions, Sharon, it has already worked out for you. The prayer has already been said. The moment you had a desire for you and your mom to stay together, it had already worked out. I want you to go, Sharon, I want you to go bigger. I don't want you to only think, oh, I want us to stay together, but I want you to think me and my mom are safe in our home. We are safe in our home. We're cuddled up on the couch together, safe in our home. Think of that, go past, oh, that's what I meant to mention, y'all, my bad. This is also why the 3-second sat scene works seamlessly here. Remember, your 3-second sat scene is going past the end of creation. So that means going past it, you're living from it. As you and your mom are in a home together, 3 seconds, what does that look like to you? It could be you flipping on the TV on the couch, you washing your hands at the sink. Keep it 3 seconds because you're living from the end of creation. Okay. I am glad. Welcome to your receiving era, goddesses. I just know there's going to be more and more revelations as we are going through this era. And I'm just so glad. I'm so glad we experienced the rest. I'm so glad we experienced the relaxing. And the receiving was the whole point of it all. Literally the entire point of it all. This was the beginning. The receiving was the answer. We could have started from receiving, but whatever. We're here for the journey. And remember, we do not entertain what we do not want to experience. Meaning you're not entertaining lack. You're not entertaining the past. If you're entertaining what you don't want to experience, it's because you're operating on linear time and you're not practicing your faith. You're not believing what you believe to be true. You're not believing in what you're telling yourself. Practice your faith against these circumstances. I want y'all to know the 3D will test you. The 3D will present circumstances that make it seem like it's not going to work out. But what are you perceiving? Despite what you're seeing in the 3D, internally, what are you perceiving? And if you are perceiving that it has already worked out, the 3D must match that. Again, the 3D is a fun house of mirrors. Literally how I look at the 3D. This is just a fun house of mirrors. This is just a little play out here. Who am I being? That's really what matters. What am I perceiving right now? That is what matters. So only entertain what you want to experience. That is that practice faith. That is living from the end of creation. Don't just go to end of creation and say, oh, well, this is what I want and that's it. No, move from that. Remember who you are from that point. From this point of existence, from the point of you watching me, when you click off this video, who are you being after that? That is what matters every single moment of every single day. Think of it as a stand-alone moment only. Does not matter after, it does not matter before. Right now, who are you being? Who do you remember yourself to be? How are you moving? Do that. Keep that in your mind. Again, the guide is free right now until tomorrow morning. So get your guide because I want you to have this knowledge. I want you to experience pleasure. I want you to just enjoy life. That is the whole point of the 3D. If you're not enjoying it, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it backwards. You're thinking the 3D is going to give you enjoyment. Enjoyment starts here. Start here and allow the 3D to be the experience of it all. Anyway, as always, I'm happy. Let me see. Is the guy? Yes, there's the link to the stand store is in the description, and it's the first thing on the stand store right now. So make sure you get it. Anyway, as always, I'm happy, I'm blessed, I'm free. Yahweh.